The stone walls rise high above the marshland. They are crumbling, but they are still strong after being left alone for 500 years. King Alfred gets off his horse and runs his hand along the old Roman stonework. It has weathered and grown moss, but it is still as strong as it was when it was built. His warband watches as their king looks over the ruins of what was once Londinium. Broken columns stick out of wild grasses where a forum used to be. The entrance to the amphitheatre looks like a dark mouth, and now foxes and ravens live there instead of roaring crowds. If Alfred can turn these ruins into a fortress before the Vikings come back, this ghost town will save London. Welcome to Arthur's Living History. Have you ever thought about why London was left alone for hundreds of years, only to come back to life in one of history's most dramatic city resurrections? Let me explain. In the year 886, England is about to go extinct. For almost 100 years, Viking longships have carved bloody paths up every river and coastline. The Anglo-Saxons call this time the Fury of the Northmen. 3 of England's 4 great kingdoms, Northumbria, East Anglia and Mercia, have already fallen, crushed by Danish axes. Wessex is the only place left, and its king won't give up. Alfred isn't just fighting to stay alive. He's also getting ready to take back England's most important prize, a city that has been slowly dying for 400 years. To comprehend Alfred's challenges in 886, we must revert to 410, a time when Roman Londinium flourished as a gem of the empire. Picture a city with 45,000 people living in it, the biggest settlement north of the Alps. There are a lot of merchants in the forum, and their voices bounce off the basilica, which is 100 meters long. Ships from Gaul, Germania, and the Mediterranean bring wine, olive oil, and other luxury goods to the port. 8,000 people can watch gladiatorial games in the amphitheatre. Bathhouses have heated water flowing through complex hypocaust systems under mosaic floors. This busy city is protected by 2 miles of defensive walls that are 20 feet high and have towers on top of them. But Rome is going to die. In the year 410, Emperor Honorius sends his famous response to Britain's desperate plea for military help. Look to your own defenses. The legions leave, taking the tools of empire with them. Without Roman control over taxes, money, and trade networks, life in cities starts to slowly fall apart. By the year 450, the stone city is almost empty. The forum goes quiet. The amphitheatre falls apart. Weeds grow through paved streets that used to be walked on by soldiers and traders. The Saxon settlers who came in the 5th and 6th centuries actively avoid living inside these walls, which is what makes this abandonment so strange. They call the ruins the work of giants because they are too creepy and otherworldly to live in. People who only build with wood and thatch think the stone buildings are strange. One Saxon poet writes hauntingly about the work of giants, crumbling, roofs collapsed, towers in ruins, where long ago many men, glad-minded and bright with gold, shone in splendor. The Romans' magnificent infrastructure becomes Britain's most spectacular ghost town. Instead, around the year 600, Saxon settlers built a new town called Londonwick, about a mile west of the Roman walls, along what is now the Strand. The name says it all. Wick means trading town in Old English. This isn't a fortified city, it's an open settlement of 600,000 square meters that is more focused on trade than defense. Wooden buildings line the muddy streets. Wattle and clay embankments keep the riverfront stable, which makes it easier to load and unload goods from merchant ships. By the early 700s, Londonwick was thriving as a trading centre for many nations who visited by land and sea, as the monk Bede put it. Archaeological evidence shows that people from all over the world traded goods there, including amber from the Baltic, millstones and wine jars from the Rhineland, and pottery and glass from northern France. People have found silver coins that were made here in Scandinavia, which shows that trade goes both ways. It's a cosmopolitan place where Anglo-Saxon merchants haggle with Frankish traders and where languages mix in markets that smell like spices from other countries. But Londonwick has one big problem. It has no walls or defences, and its wealth is just sitting out in the open on the Thames riverbank. The nightmare starts in 793. In the morning of June, Viking longships show up off the coast of Northumbria and hit the Lindisfarne monastery like a hammer. Monks are killed at their altars. Sea chests are full of sacred treasures like gold chalices, silver plates, and jeweled crosses. As slaves, the survivors are tied up and marched to the ships. The attack sends shockwaves through all of Christian Europe. How could such sacred ground be so brutally attacked? The raids get worse. Viking fleets get bigger and bolder every year. These aren't just random pirates. They're highly trained warrior merchants who are gathering information through their trading networks and going after the richest, most vulnerable places. They raid Londonwick for the first time at 842. The undefended trading town is a raider's dream. There are warehouses full of goods, no military base, and citizens have nowhere to go. The game is completely different by 865. The English call the huge army that lands in East Anglia the Great Heathen Army. It has between 500 and 1,000 warriors led by the sons of the famous Ragnar Lothbrok. This isn't a break-in. It's an attack. They take over Northumbria, East Anglia, and most of Mercia in 5 years. Kings are killed or run away to live in exile. In the winter of 871, Vikings set up camp inside the old Roman walls of Londinium. This was the first time anyone had lived there in 400 years. The ruins of the crumbling amphitheatre and basilica protect people from winter storms, while the Danes attack Wessex. At the age of 21, Alfred becomes King of Wessex in 871. He is thrust into leadership during what he later calls the Year of Battles. That year, he fights 9 major battles and wins only 1. All of his older brothers have died in the fight. If Alfred dies, Anglo-Saxon England dies with him. January 8th, 78 is the darkest time. Alfred is celebrating Christmas at his royal estate in Chippenham when the Danish leader Guthrum launches a surprise winter attack. This is a terrible break from the rules of medieval warfare. Vikings don't fight in the winter, but Guthrum does. He takes Chippenham and sends Alfred running with only his household guards into the marshes of Somerset. For months, the King of Wessex is a fugitive in his own kingdom, hiding out in the swamps of Athelney and launching guerrilla attacks. But Alfred has a plan. In the 7th week after Easter, which is around early May 878, he sends messengers all over Somerset, Wiltshire and Hampshire. His scattered army comes back together at a place called Egbert's Stone. The men who come haven't run away from England. They've stayed, hidden, and waited for this moment. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle says that when Alfred shows up, they greet him as if he had come back from the dead. Next comes the Battle of Edington. Alfred's army meets Guthrum's army in a day-long battle in the rolling hills of Wiltshire. This time, the Anglo-Saxons stay in formation. The shield walls crash into each other, and men fight and fall, but the Danish line starts to break down. The troops of Alfred move forward. The Vikings run away from their fort at Chippenham. Alfred surrounds them for 2 weeks, until they give up because they are starving. Alfred doesn't just beat Guthrum, he also changes him. Alfred is the godfather of the Danish warlord, who is baptized as a Christian and given the name Athelstan. This isn't just a show for politicians. It's Alfred who builds a bridge between 2 groups of people, turning an enemy into a treaty partner. The Treaty of Wedmore makes the Danelaw official. The Vikings rule the north and east of England, while Alfred rules the south and west. There is peace for the first time in years. Alfred makes great use of this peace. He doesn't relax after winning. He gets ready for the next war that he knows will come. His network of fortified towns or burhs changes the way England defends itself. There are burhs all over Wessex, so no part of it is more than 20 miles from safety. When the Vikings start raiding again, civilians can go to these fortresses to stay safe while warriors gather. It's like a defensive network from the Middle Ages, and it works. This system makes London the most important city. By 886, Londonwick is empty and too weak to defend against Viking attacks. The streets disappear under grass, and the wooden buildings rot. The name fades until only Aldwych remains, which means the old town. But Alfred sees a chance in the ruins that no one has lived in for almost 500 years. Alfred makes his revolutionary choice while standing inside those old Roman walls. London will rise again, but not as an open trading town. Instead, it will be a fortified burh, a military and commercial stronghold that can control the Thames Valley. His engineers look over the Roman defences. The walls are mostly still standing, but there are some places where they have been broken through and the tops are crumbling. The fossa, which used to be the defensive ditch around Londinium, is now full of trash from hundreds of years. The old gates are no longer there. They have fallen down and become rubble. Alfred gives the order for the biggest restoration project England has seen since the Romans left. Thousands of workers show up with shovels and picks. They recut the defensive ditch, taking out 400 years' worth of soil and plants that had built up there. Stonemasons fix broken parts of the wall by resetting fallen blocks and replacing old stones with new ragstone from Kent. At important entry points, carpenters build new wooden gates. Surveyors lay out new streets inside the walls. The Roman road system is gone, buried under dirt and rubble. Alfred's planners make a new grid that still defines the City of London today, from Cheapside to the Thames. The change is mind-boggling. Londonburh, the London fortress, was once a haunted ruin. Settlers get plots of land inside the walls, but they know that they have to man the ramparts when Vikings attack in exchange for the land and the protection of these walls. Every plot is written down in what will become the Burgle Heidage, a detailed report that figures out how many men each part of the wall needs to protect it. It's the best example of medieval logistics. Alfred basically came up with the idea of planning how to defend a city. Alfred does something even smarter for politics, though. He doesn't keep London after he gets it. Mercia has always owned the city, not Wessex. So Alfred gives back control to the Mercian leaders, specifically Ealdorman Ethelred, whom he makes stronger by arranging for his daughter Ethelflaed to marry him. It's a stroke of genius. Alfred ties Mercia to Wessex through an alliance instead of a conquest by respecting traditional boundaries and giving the military the power to protect them. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle uses strange poetry to tell what happens next. All the English people that were not under subjection to the Danes submitted to him. Alfred is now more than the King of Wessex. He is now known as the leader of all free English people and the protector of Anglo-Saxon England from Viking invasion. The restoration of London is a symbol of this change, from brokenness to unity, from weakness to strength, and from just getting by to building something that will last. Life in the new London moves quickly. Merchants who ran away to safer places come back because they feel safe behind strong walls and want to control trade on the Thames. The waterfront is getting new wharves. Goods are once again filling up warehouses. The sounds of blacksmiths, weavers, potters, and leather workers fill the streets. In the past, pagan temples stood where churches now stand. As Alfred's educational reforms take hold, the city becomes bilingual. English and Latin are heard side by side as schools are built and literacy is promoted, even though the war is still going on. The walls that Alfred fixed up are not just for defense, they also help people feel better. They stand for the return of order, the rebirth of city life, and the refusal to accept that Viking warlords own England. Every stone that is reset in those walls is a promise. We will not disappear, we will not be defeated, and we will make something better than what we got from Rome. Alfred's work goes on outside of London. He sets up a navy, which is the first English fleet made just to catch Viking longships at sea. He changes the fired military system by making it so that half of the army can serve while the other half farms. This keeps the economy going. He turns Latin texts into English so that people who aren't in the clergy can learn from them. He changes the laws to make them more fair and to teach people to read and write at the same time. Alfred dies in 899 at the age of about 50, leaving England a very different place. His children and grandchildren will carry out his plan, slowly taking back the Danelaw until England becomes a single kingdom under his grandson, Aethelstan. But Alfred's foundation is based on new laws, stronger towns, a stronger military, and, most importantly, the restored walls of London. You can still see the Roman walls that Alfred brought back to life today. Sections can be found all over the City of London, in medieval churches, in the basements of office buildings, and in public parks. The London Wall Road goes along the same path as they did long ago. When you walk those streets, you're following paths that Alfred's surveyors made in 886 that connect a ghost town to the present. The rebirth of London isn't just in its buildings, it's also in its spirit. Alfred showed that civilizations don't have to accept decline, that ruins can be used to build something new, and that a people can reclaim their heritage and build something new with vision and determination. The Vikings came to destroy, but they also helped create by forcing the English to come together, come up with new ideas, and become stronger than they had been before the terror started. That's why Alfred is the only English king to have the title the Great. It's not just because he won battles, but also because he knew that real victory isn't about conquering others, but about creating institutions that last longer than any one person. The London he rebuilt became England's permanent capital. It grew from that fortified burh into the global city we know today. Every stone in those old walls and every street in the original city has the mark of a king who wouldn't let his people and their culture fade away into history's darkness. If you want to subscribe to this channel, join the thousands of people who already do and learn about some of the most amazing events in history. Let's keep these stories alive together. My name is Arthur, and I'm curious about what historical event I should do next. The building of the Great Wall, the siege of Constantinople, or maybe the founding of Venice in the lagoons? Please let me know in the comments.